Thank you for joining me today. My name is Ann Crawford and I'm the Adult Services Librarian at the Ponte Beach Branch Library. And have you noticed that books have inspired a great deal of adaptations these days? There's mini-series and limited series and movies and so much more ways to see your book come to life on the big screen. Some of our big screen adaptations have even spawned popular tie-in books, and the library is a place to find all of these materials, whether you want to start with the source materials in the books or you want to start with the adaptation and work your way back to the books. There's no wrong way to do it. And there's a few different adaptations and book series that I wanted to highlight today that are super popular and that you'll want to get the scoop on. So I thought I'd dive into the one that seems to make the most sense. That would be the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. If you're watching this presentation, then you know this week is a super special week for Outlander fans. Now, the Outlander series is going to have 10 books in the series, and the 9th book came out this week. And your library is where it's at to find that book and find that ebook. So get right on it. If you got a St. Johns County Library card, make sure you get yourself on the list. I believe the people who've been waiting for book 9 have been waiting at least 7 years for this newest book. So that's a long time to reread books 1 through 8. And fortunately, there's also the Stars series that has encompassed the first 5 books, or 5/6 books, because I think the 5th season covered both the 5th book and the 6th book. So people have been watching the Stars adaptation, and they've also been reading the books, and now they finally have Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. So again, that's a really exciting thing for Outlander fans. They finally have this new book. It's coming out right before Thanksgiving, right before the holidays in December. So it's a great gift possibility for someone in your life that loves Outlander, maybe a gift to yourself. And again, if you have a St. Johns County Library card, do check our catalog and Hoopla and Overdrive, which I'll talk about a little bit later, to find the print copy as well as the ebook and possibly the e-audiobook. We'll also try to get it on audiobook CDs as well. So there'll be a variety of ways to read the book. So again, very exciting news for Outlander fans. We also own the first 5 seasons on DVD. So if you don't get the premium channel Stars, you can check out the series from your library for absolutely free with your St. Johns County Library card. So following up Outlander, which has an incredibly popular readership for its books and an incredibly popular viewership for the Stars series online, there's another series that's come along and has exploded into popular culture. Now, the book series has been around for a while, but once The Duke and I debuted on Netflix, suddenly Julia Quinn's Bridgerton series was the new rage. And what's interesting about Julia Quinn is that she takes these Regency-style stories and adds, it's the best way I want to describe it, kind of a Danielle Steele twist, if you will. They're a little bit half bodice ripper, half Regency story, and they've made for incredibly compelling reading as well as watching. The Viscount Who Loved Me is the 2nd book and is soon to come out as the new series on Netflix. In fact, from what I understand from my research, there are several books in the Bridgerton series, and all of the books are going to be made into adaptations of their own series on Netflix. So this is kind of the new hot read in more ways than one. And for all those romance readers who like their Jane Austen books with a little bit of spice, you've got the Bridgerton series to dive into. And again, The Duke and I was incredibly popular. It brought the books right back to the forefront of pop culture. They're going to follow up with the 2nd book. And what's interesting about the Bridgerton series is it's about the Bridgerton family. And so every member of the Bridgerton family has their own book, has their own story. So just as we focused on Daphne's story in The Duke and I, will be focusing on Anthony's story in The Viscount Who Loved Me. We own print copies of all the books, and here's the best news of all. Not only do we own the ebooks, we own the ebooks in Hoopla, which if you're familiar with Hoopla, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later, you can borrow the ebooks in Hoopla all at the same time, meaning that if I want to borrow The Viscount Who Loved Me and 5 other people want to read it too, we can all read it at the same time. Nobody has to be put on a wait list. It's multi-use copies. Now you are limited to 7 copies per month, 7 titles per month that you can check out at a time. But other than that restriction, you don't ever have to wait for anything that you decide to check out because there is no wait list. So if you're really interested in reading the Bridgerton series, I recommend tapping into Hoopla to check out the books. The Outlander series, however, is in Overdrive, but in some cases we have multiple copies and you can always put yourself on the wait list. And in both cases, both series are also owned in print. So if you're excited about Bridgerton and you'd like to read the next story, The Viscount Who Loved Me, before it debuts on Netflix, you certainly can with your St. Johns County Library card, either from home or here in the library if you check out the print copy. And what's interesting about Bridgerton is right before Bridgerton exploded onto our TV screens via Netflix, there was another little series out there that had a popular first season and unfortunately, as sometimes happens, got the plug pulled. And it was called Sanditon, which is actually one of Jane Austen's novels that was never finished by her. Unfortunately, she passed away before she had an opportunity to finish the book. So what happened instead is the Sanditon series done by Andrew Davies, who also did Pride and Prejudice, decided with his writers, they went ahead and finished Jane Austen's story, or at least they finished part of it because they always envisioned at least a season 2. So they were very disappointed not to get a season 2, and if you watched it, it ended on a particularly heart-rending cliffhanger. So for a while there, I was really disappointed because I thought to myself, I am never going to get to see future seasons of this show, and I know they have more to tell. I have Bridgerton to thank for the fact that Sanditon is going to come back for seasons 2 and 3. Because Bridgerton was so incredibly popular and in some ways has very similar elements to what they did with Sanditon, where it's a Regency romance with a little bit of spice. As a result, because Bridgerton was so popular and because the fan base of Sanditon had such fervor and such determination to get at least a second season, those two elements combined resulted in not only Sanditon being renewed for a second season, it got renewed for a third. So never underestimate the power of readers. Okay, now you may be thinking, now wait a minute, Downton Abbey isn't a book series. Why are you covering Downton Abbey? Well, I have a few reasons. Hear me out. So first of all, Downton Abbey is incredibly popular. We own all 6 seasons here at the library, which are free to check out with your library card, as well as the first movie, also free to check out with your library card. And the second movie comes out in Christmas 2021, right? I think a couple of days before Christmas is when the movie will air. And I know a lot of people, including my mother, including myself, will be very excited to see the Downton Abbey movie, the second one that they've made, and hopefully there'll be some future ones to come, because when the 6th season ended, I know a lot of people were sad about the story ending because they love the family, they love the characters, they love the costumes and the scenery and the story and the plot lines. So people were really excited to see everyone come back for the first movie, and soon we'll be seeing the second movie, which is really exciting. So again, you might be asking yourself, now wait a minute, all 3 of the series you've highlighted so far, Outlander, Bridgerton, Sanditon, they all came from books. So why are you covering Downton Abbey? Well, Downton Abbey is one of those interesting exceptions that didn't start from a book, but ended up spawning a lot of tie-in books. So we have a lot of Downton Abbey related books books about the series, cocktails you can make, recipes you can make, books about the first film. So there's lots of Downton Abbey things to read. And actually Downton Abbey inspired some authors, including Jessica Fellows, who worked with the show, to write fiction books set in the same time period and with the same sorts of stories and things like that. So this was an example of an adaptation spawning books rather than books inspiring adaptations. But I thought it was worth mentioning because, of course, we've got the second movie coming up right at the holidays. It's just going to be a lot of fun. It's heartwarming. It takes you into a whole nother world. It's just a breath of fresh air. And like I said, it did spawn a lot of tie-in books, all of which are available at your library in print, and several of which are available digitally in Overdrive or Hoopla. So last but not least, I've been talking about Overdrive, I've been talking about Hoopla, and this is where I want to get specific on how Overdrive and Hoopla can work for you. So as I've said, all of these series are available in print as well as in digital format. And so you might be saying, well, how does digital formats work? Well, your St. Johns County Library card allows you to check out anything you want in print and allows you access to our digital databases, for which you can download ebooks and e-audiobooks and even stream movies, music, and TV shows, as well as download magazines, all for free. So I thought, well, let me see if I can explain the differences between Overdrive and Hoopla and why you should go ahead and download the apps for both, because they're free apps and free access for you as St. Johns County Library card holders. So you've got Overdrive, which uses the Libby app. She's very streamlined. She's going to be your best friend. She walks you through all the steps. You can check out up to 10 items in Overdrive. So, you know, either between ebooks, e-audiobooks, or magazines, you can request up to 5. If you are waiting for something, you want to check something out, someone else already has it checked out, you can add yourself to the wait list, just like you do at the library, and you'll get an email notification saying, hey, your book's ready, or your magazine or audiobook is ready for download. So that's a really good reason to check Overdrive. Now, Overdrive also has content that's selected by St. Johns County Library staff, including yours truly. We use patron requests, we search through our professional journals, we do research, we find out what the new adaptations are going to be, the books we're using for our book clubs, any variety of sources to help populate popular reads here in Overdrive, both in fiction, nonfiction, biographies, etc. So that's all content generated by St. Johns County Library system between either you, the patrons, or us, the staff. Hoopla, however, rolls out its own selections every month, and we don't have a choice in choosing what those selections are, but that's not to say that those selections aren't great, because some of the ebooks that roll out in Hoopla, for any number of reasons, we can't get in Overdrive. So if you look in Overdrive and you don't find what you want, do look in Hoopla. Now here's where Hoopla has an advantage and disadvantage with Overdrive. The disadvantage is you can only check out 7 items a month. Whereas in Overdrive, you can have 10 items checked out at any given time, even if you change those 10 items every single week, you know, with no limit. Hoopla is 7 items a month, but here's the bonus to Hoopla. Whereas with Overdrive, it's 1 reader per 1 copy. Hoopla allows as many readers as they want to read the same book at the same time. So for example, that Bridgerton series I mentioned earlier by Julia Quinn, all of the books are in Hoopla, and if you want to read one right now, you don't have to wait. You just have to download the Hoopla app, go into Hoopla, check out that book with your St. Johns County Library card, and start reading. There's no wait list. There's no waiting whatsoever. So again, if you don't find what you're looking in Overdrive, do look in Hoopla, and also search in Hoopla just in case if there's any replication there, because it's possible we bought something in Overdrive and then they rolled it into Hoopla. Because again, you know, if you don't have to wait, why not just dive on in? So these are 2 great free databases that you can use with your St. Johns County Library card, and are a great way to get a hold of these popular reads, especially if you're someone who likes to read the book before you watch the movie or the miniseries. And again, if you want a St. Johns County Library card, all you got to do is go to one of your 6 branches or 2 bookmobiles during their hours of operation, and get yourself one. If you're a St. Johns County resident, it's a free card to use, smartest card in your wallet. And the last thing I wanted to mention is if you've been trying to scribble down everything that I'm saying, you don't need to worry. Right after this clip of the presentation, I have a whole list of all the books I've mentioned, all the adaptations I've mentioned, any databases or websites I've mentioned, plus additional resources that I didn't get the opportunity to cover. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the new Downton Abbey movie, the new Outlander book that's come out, the forthcoming Bridgerton and Sanditon seasons that are coming forth, and all those popular culture hits that we try our best to keep up with here at the library. And unlike going to a bookstore or even on Amazon, it's all free to you with a St. Johns County Library card. I look forward to seeing you next time, and happy reading!